thanks for joining us. We're doing a facility focus. So for the month of March, we're doing some interviews and chats with various people involved in grassroots football, and just talking to them briefly about facilities and kind of their experience. So yeah, thanks for joining us. Would you mind just introducing yourself, sort of your position and the club that you're with?
Yeah, so I'm Mccrae. I'm Vice Chairman of Kingsthorpe Jets Youth Football Club in Northampton, with a special responsibility for club development.
Perfect, thank you. So do you mind just telling us a little bit about the club, sort of how many teams you've got and where you play, things like that?
Yeah, so we are a long-established club based right in the middle of Kingsthorpe at Kingsthorpe Rec. We are a long-standing club in Northampton with 35 squads, comprising 30 teams, because we've also got development squads, wildcats, and those kind of sessions, allowing children who aren't necessarily Kingsthorpe Jets players access to football. And we run from under 5s, under 6, all the way up to adult. We're actually 45% female, so we've actually got a really good mix of women and girls in our club.
Fantastic, great stuff. So do you know the total number off the top of your head?
Total
members?
No, we've got over 450. We're over 450, approaching 500 players now.
Fantastic, brilliant. So yeah, certainly one of our biggest clubs in the county. So yeah, I can imagine that your requirements for pitches and facilities is substantial. So kind of we've been talking for a number of years, haven't we, about improving the facilities for you.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you play at Kingsthorpe Rec. What would you say your experience of the pitches are like there over the last sort of few years?
Okay, so for those who are watching the video who know the Jets, you will have seen we'd have played some games before at the past years, sometimes at the racecourse, all over the place. So we've really tried as a club to bring everybody into one location, to feel much more of a club, and that has brought a particular challenge. We have managed to do that, but the real challenges that we've had is trying to fit as many pitches of different sizes as we can in the Rec, where there's few lumps and bumps and drains and things like that. The main thing with the pitches, the positives are it's really good drainage up there, and but part of the reason there's really good drainage is there is a bit of a slope, and the pitches excuse me, were all deemed as substandard as part of the assessment that we had. So the pitches are okay, and we don't tend to cancel too many games and things like that, but they haven't been the most conducive for football, really.
Okay, so the inspection that you spoke about, that was a pitch power inspection, wasn't it, that we did?
Yes.
Probably about maybe 2 years ago now, something like that.
Yeah, it's approaching that.
Yeah. So how did that pitch power inspection kind of lead on to kind of what's happened over the last couple of years, would you say?
So the first thing I'd say for anybody considering the pitch power assessment was it was really, really quite straightforward. It was a few hours out of our time, but we had a lot of pitches to inspect. But yeah, everything that was measured, from things like weed coverage, depth of thatch on the grass, bare patches, all of that kind of work was really quite insightful to realise how we compared to other pitches. So as part of the process, we found it was all very straightforward, very easy to do. But yeah, when we had the assessment that came back, the pitch power tool basically said that all the pitches were substandard.
Okay, so what sort of support have you had around helping to inspect the pitches and the funding that it led to?
So the first step really was the support that we got from you, Stuart, and NFA in terms of taking us through this process and setting up an introduction to the support pitch advisor, who came out with you, myself, and the chairman of the club, and we actually walked around the pitches and did the inspections with them. Sort of helped out and sort of got a really good insight into what the whole process was. And And then the support pitch advisor recorded all the findings in the Pitch Power app for us, and that went through to the Football Foundation, where our ultimately our request and our grant was accepted. So we were offered funds.
Fantastic, great. So that's the funding for those who are watching. It's the grass pitch maintenance fund. So that's a 6-year funded program through the Football Foundation, which pays for additional contractor works, kind of over and above the work that's been done on the pitches. I think it's worth kind of pointing out as well is that the pitches at the Rec are council owned, aren't they, Lee?
Yes.
So those pitches are owned by West Northampton Council. They're maintained by ID Verdi. But we've been able, through talking with all the parties, we've been able to get a funding agreement in place for you to use and get additional funding for the pitches that are owned by the council.
Yes.
I think in a lot of cases, some clubs think that they're not eligible for this funding because they play on a council pitch and it's therefore not eligible. But actually, that's not the case. And we sort of worked with you to go through that process. So yeah, that's really,
I
really
was quite
positive.
heartened by that. I mean, you helped facilitate this meeting, which we had with West Northampton Council, with Ida Verdi, with our additional the company that we engaged to do the extra level of works, and ourselves, and it actually worked really well as a process. So I would say we were not necessarily guinea pigs for that, but we were some of the first to get involved in that, and it's actually worked really well with Ida Verdi and the company that we ultimately engaged with, now beginning to liaise really well around the balances between doing their works and works that the additional contractor has to do, to make sure they're not conflicting and that they're complementary to each other.
So the extra work that's being done then, what company is doing that for you?
Premier Lawn Care.
Okay.
We did have a look around in terms of other companies, but Premier Lawn Care were already involved in this kind of work, and we've certainly been very happy with what they've done up to this point.
Fantastic. That's really good to hear. So the Premiership Lawn Care have been involved supporting you guys and your sort of work with ID Verdi and the council around improving the pitches. And has it made a difference? Would you say are the pitches better than they were?
Yes, I mean, to start with, there was a really big impact, and actually we've never seen the pitches better. So there was more grass coverage, the weeds had started to reduce. We saw, because they diverted draining, we started to see that the pitches would drain even better than they were before, and we were just starting to see real improvement. The particular issue we have at the Rec still is overuse. So the pitches, as things stand, they will get better, but because some of these pitches are being played on sometimes 3 or 4 games at a weekend plus training in the week. But what I think we have definitely avoided is, I think there would have been games that would have had to have been cancelled this year that weren't, because of the draining and the works that took place. We still have the issues in the same kind of areas, things like goal mouths and heavy use areas, but it's only just started, Stuart. So we have seen a real marked improvement in what there was compared to what we had before.
Fantastic. That's really good to hear. That's really, really good. And would you say that's made a difference to the sort of the players and their experience of football and not cancelling games? Has that had a big positive effect for the club as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Because when we cancel games, it's not just the disappointment of the players and the coaches and their families, but also in terms of us, in terms of planning for our match days, in terms of the cafe, car parking facilities and all those kind of things. So if we can have a little bit more certainty around games taking place, then we will. I think the other thing is just having a little bit more grass and a nicer surface to play on has been better for the children. It's really hard to measure, but it's certainly a nicer environment and nicer pitches to play on. There's certainly less bare patches than there were. So yeah, it's been a real improvement from our point of view, and we've only just started the process. So the next sort of 18 months, 2 years, hopefully we'll see further improvement.
Great stuff. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Lee. Good to chat, and we'll catch up again soon.
Cheers, Stuart.